Elon Musk has got a fantastic quote on this. Running a business is like chewing glass and staring into the abyss.
How do you balance building the business with everything else going on in your life?
It's the single hardest thing I've personally found as an entrepreneur. These people are very time poor. They buy these cars often as milestones for achievements. They're like a financial asset. They need oversight, they need maintenance, they need care. Otherwise, we see them slowly depreciate.
How should someone deal with self-doubt when they have no results yet?
Don't let negative thoughts control you. Celebrate the small gains. I used to build sand racing cars for 500 quid. Currently, we're sat in a facility that's got close to £1 million worth of cars in it.
What is the overall problem you are trying to solve with your business? Lawrence, nice to see you again. You okay?
Yeah, good to see you, Harvey. Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Thanks for giving us the space to use. We've got 2 cars behind us.
Yeah, so these are 2 client cars that we've got in storage.
Yeah.
They have to stay covered up for confidentiality of our clients. Yeah. However, anybody wants to guess what they actually are, I'll give you some tips. That's a Porsche. Mm-hmm. That's a Ferrari. Mm-hmm. If you want to put in the comments which one you think it is, I'll send you something out if you get it right.
Sounds good. Last time we saw each other, what was it, November? Was it when the episode came out? So the Jersey Entrepreneur episode.
Yeah, yes.
So it was that. So welcome back. You're the second guest that has appeared twice on the show. So Hannah was the first one. Now you are the second. So thank you for coming back on. My first question is, for anyone that has clicked on this video and perhaps don't know you, who you are and what is your business?
Yeah, so my name's Lawrence Slatter. I run Vehicle Focus. It's a company I founded. We're an automotive management business based in Jersey. We look after high net worths with assets as of these, anything really that they need to manage their collection, logistics sourcing, concierge service is what we do. And the way I try and describe it to people that, keep it simple is I help people with too many cars and not enough time.
Nice. Sounds good. What was your early relationship with cars and business growing up?
Great. So there are 2 big themes in my childhood: motorsports and the family business. So I've been into engines and anything with an engine since I could walk. It was just a natural thing for me. Yeah. And the motorsport that my family were involved, again, it was natural that I sort of followed that. Thing was, though, I actually had more fun building the cars, maintaining the cars, than I actually did ever racing them.
Right, okay.
So, again, it just felt really natural. So just this curiosity about how they work, preparing them, fixing them, it was just what I felt was right to do. At the same time, as I say, we had the family business, so that supported the racing. So I grew up in the business, learning about business, and then seeing what the business provided to us as a family, the opportunities that we had because of that business. So it was inevitable that I'm here where today.
Yeah. Okay. And was there a defining moment where you thought, I'm going to build something of my own? Maybe when you were younger, or?
Yeah, again, growing up in that family business, it was always there in the back of my mind. But because of my curiosity into engineering and things, I took the more traditional route. I went to college, I learned about engineering, and got my qualifications that way. So I then took a regular job in to facilitate that as well. Yeah. But there was always this nagging thing in the back of my mind. And as the family got old and the business was, either to be handed on or closed down, it wasn't my forte. It was a decorating company. Yeah. So I'm not a decorator by trade. So it just wasn't right for me to take that on. So again, I had that wanting to do it. So, I really looked up what my skill set was and could I do something in my field of expertise.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. And then how would your family and friends describe you in one word? And what trait do you think you have that perhaps has helped you in your journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, great question. Really interesting. So I didn't have an answer for this. So I turned to my wife and said, answer the question for me, because I don't know what you're thinking. I never get time to sit down and actually process. So her words were driven, pardon the pun. So she said, no, a driven individual. And I think that, I think that's quite a compliment, really.
Yeah.
The trait that's helped me is an attention to detail, and I think you get that quite naturally in engineering. It's all detailed orientated.
Yeah.
Always looking for, that extra bit that you can do, that little bit that you can add, picking up on the fine things. And 9 times out of 10, your customers won't see it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like when you're putting wheels back on, make sure all the badges line up. It's, the little things like that really, to you, it really stands you out. And the interesting thing is, people will talk about you in rooms that you'll never be in.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And it's those little extra bits that you do, those little bits of attention to detail that get you noticed and put you above everyone else. And they get mentioned in rooms you'll never see.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
So I was at a car meet recently and was chatting to a few people. Anyway, someone heard my name and they said, they came to introduce themselves to me. I knew who he was. He's a businessman, but I didn't have an intro to him anyway. So I was chatting to someone close. He introduced himself to me, and the best thing he could have said was, "I keep hearing your name pop up."
Yeah, that's good.
So for me, that's fantastic. I'm doing something right somewhere for people to know who I am.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then moving on to your business, for anyone that has not heard of Vehicle Focus, could you explain what it is and what you do?
Yeah, so I touched on it briefly. So we essentially help busy collectors, business owners, high net worths with collections of cars and support them whatever their need is. So that could be sourcing cars, that could be logistics and moving cars, that could be regular maintenance checks if they're off the island, keeping an eye on battery charges, things like this. Whatever they need, arranging detailing and valeting, those sorts of things as well. So we are a concierge service for that car space.
Yeah. Okay. And what is the overall problem you are trying to solve with your business?
It's making these cars easy to use. They are very easy to buy if you've got the funds. You can go out and buy a huge number of cars, but managing them effectively is really hard to do, especially if you've got other business interests, which a lot of my clients do. They're focused on their business and they grow their business really well. And they buy these cars often as milestones for achievements. But actively managing them, they're like a financial asset. They need oversight, they need maintenance, they need care. Otherwise, we see them slowly depreciate. So what we want to do is just look after them. Sometimes clients aren't in the island all the time. Our ideal scenario is that they use the car, they turn key, and then they put it back in the garage, and then they don't think about it again. We'll put covers on them, we'll put battery chargers on them, we'll get them clean, those sorts of things. It's making it easy. These people are very time poor. So what we want to do is make sure that their time is efficient.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. And then what has been the hardest part of scaling your business, do you think?
So I was thinking about this a lot because everything is hard in scaling a business. And the one thing I thought about more than anything was having patience.
Right, okay.
Trusting in the system, trusting in the work. It's really easy to get caught up in things and be impatient that it's not growing as fast as you want, or you're not seeing the results as quickly as you want. You're putting in the hours. But it really is about trusting the process. The results are there. You just might not see them, as I mentioned. I didn't know I was being talked about in other rooms, but that is huge. And a lot of these things come from referrals, but the referrals are based on trust, so that people want to see you do a certain amount of work before they'll then trust you. So it is about being patient, but it does come round. That is the hardest part. And staying consistent is a huge thing as well.
Staying consistent, all right. And then what do you think separates your business from competitors that most people wouldn't notice, do you think?
Most people assume that it's all about the cars, but anybody can book a service. If you've got a really good executive assistant, they can cover that for you. But it's actually about being available to your clients at a moment's notice. So full disclaimer, I was late to this because a client suddenly rung out of the blue. They had misplaced some keys. They couldn't use that car. That car was blocking the garage. They had to get to work. Now, if you look at that client's hourly rate of what his time is worth, he needs to get to work because his hourly rate is hundreds of pounds. Whereas, so to have us facilitate something, get something moved, resolve that really, really quickly for him is giving him value. It's giving him time back.
Yeah. Okay. The reality of building and scaling a business is your topic. My first question is, when you first started, what was the biggest misconception you had about building a business?
Yeah, again, this is a great question, and you've really prompted me to think hard about this interview. So I thought I knew my subjects better than anyone. And I thought that is going to be, I know my subject, everybody's going to come to me, business is going to be great. But what I didn't know was how to brand it, how to communicate it to potential clients, how to get across what we do and the value that we deliver. That's the bit that I didn't understand. I just thought because I knew my subject, it would be easy. But unless you can brand, unless you can market, unless you can talk to people and get across what you do, nobody's going to understand your concept and nobody's going to come to you. So I naively thought if the product's good, it'll be great. But people are not sat there waiting to find your business. You do need to promote yourself. Yeah. The product being good is only the entry ticket to the circus.
Okay.
You need the rest of it as well.
Yeah. Okay. And then what has been your most financially stressful moment in the business, do you think?
Yeah. So financially stressful moment. At the minute, we're lucky. We've grown organically. We've grown semi-slowly, I'd say. So we haven't had too much. But one thing is you're constantly investing in the business faster than it's paying you back, especially at the start.
Yeah.
And that's just not that's not just financial as well. So you're investing your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears, as well as financing. And you're just hoping that it works out in the end. So, and when you do get times that are a bit quiet, because we offer a premium service, you can't just go out giving discounts to people because that's not what your clients value as well. So you can't use the traditional methods to drum up business effectively. It's this stress isn't always financial, but yeah, I'd say especially at the start, you're putting so much in and not always getting the same return out.
Yeah. Okay. And then what does building a business do to you mentally that people don't talk about?
Yeah. I suppose, you see a lot on social media and these sorts of things. Everybody's having a great day, but business breaks you every day, throws challenges at you didn't even think about could be a challenge.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has got a fantastic quote on this, and I think about it when times get hard. And Elon said, running a business is like chewing glass and staring into the abyss. And there are days where it really does feel like that. And I take some comfort in the fact that that's how he feels on days, he's doing a million times more than I'm doing. So I take that as comfort to think I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah. And then how do you balance building the business with everything else going on in your life?
Great question. It's the single hardest thing I've personally found as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
The balance for the last 2 years has been terrible.
Right. Okay.
I don't have a good work-life balance. I struggle to switch off. I don't sleep great. I wake up at 3 a.m. with my brain just completely alive. I've got this to do. I need that strategy. And I think a lot of founders will relate to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But recently, it did get to the point where I'm actually going backwards because I'm not being efficient. I'm now tired and all these sorts of things. I'm doing more damage to myself by just trying to keep plowing on. So I've set up some really simple systems in place, and it does seem to be working. So, for instance, my phone's on 24 hours a day, clients request, whatever.
Mm.
But what I found is to help with that work-life balance. When I'm in work mode, I'm in work mode. When I get home, my phone goes on the side, but it's on loud. So if there's an urgent client request, I'll hear it, I can deal with it.
Yeah.
But unless that phone's ringing, I don't need to deal with it right away. I can deal with it at the dedicated time that I've set at the end of the day, which is time to round up, finish off, respond to anything. So that recently has made a real difference. Although it's not perfect, just putting those boundaries in. And it's really hard to do at the start because you need to do everything at once.
Yeah.
So I'd say work-life balance is not great, but if you can do something to help a little bit, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Okay. And then moving on to advice for others. How do you know if your business idea is worth pursuing?
Yeah. So the best way to do it is start small and test cheap.
Okay.
Okay. So any idea you've got, and I did this, I had an idea and I thought, is there a market for this? So you don't, no one needs 3 million quid and a warehouse full of stock.
Okay.
You can test really simply, especially with the internet, whatever your idea is. Facebook ads are quite cheap. But even then, just find a peer group, put it out on LinkedIn, these sorts of places, test the idea, see what people respond to, what they don't respond to. It's a really easy way. And once people start, liking your idea and using your idea and using your business, then you can, take a step back and actually look at it again and be like, right, is this correct? The concept that we started with, or I started with rather, is not the concept we've got now. It evolved.
Yeah.
So what I initially started out with, right, this is what I think people need. As it's evolved, we've grown clients, we've worked with these clients. It has changed to suit their needs. So never be too rigid in your idea as well.
Yeah. Okay. And my next question is, how should someone deal with self-doubt when they have no results yet, maybe in the first stages of the business?
Don't let negative thoughts control you. Okay. Your brain is your greatest asset and your worst enemy. Perfect. And it will get you at your lowest.
Yeah.
I still get it now. It just pops in your head and you get the self-doubt and you think, oh, is it working? Is this worth pursuing? Is it worth the heartache and the long hours? Don't let them control you. Celebrate the small gains, because there are small gains. Take snapshots, take photos, make notes, because when times are hard, you can revisit them.
Yeah.
And it really, it really does help you. And it was only the other day, again, I got this. You think, oh, is this really working? And I thought back and I thought, I used to build sand racing cars for 500 quid. Mm-hmm. Currently, we're sat in a facility that's got close to £1 million worth of cars in it. Mm-hmm. So little reality checks like that, again, you think, I might not be on a super yacht in Monaco, but this is working.
Yeah, okay. And then if you had to give brutally honest advice to someone trying to start a business, what would it be, do you think?
I think you need to ask yourself, how much do you really want it?
Okay.
You need to want it more than you want anything else. It is hard. On the flip side, I don't want to be super negative about business, because I want everybody to be an entrepreneur, because I think it's the greatest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah.
And when it works, there's no feeling better. So it's just about being prepared to make those sacrifices, work really hard, work long hours. Mm-hmm. But you need to believe so badly in your idea.
Okay. What does consistency actually look like when motivation isn't there from your experience running your business?
Alex Hormozy said it the best. Mm-hmm. Success is hard because it requires consistency, not complexity.
Okay.
And it's often the boring stuff that makes you succeed. It's the LinkedIn posts, it's the following up with people, it's the unsexy side of business. Again, systems, set time, be strict with yourself. As much as being in here is the hands-on side of the business, it really is just 50%.
Yeah. Okay.
There is the other half of the business, and it is boring, but it is the one thing that will change your business. Motivation is a mood, consistency is a system.
Okay, yeah. And then in a concierge business, your network is everything, I'm guessing. How should someone actually start building one from scratch?
Great question. Network is everything, I think, in just any business.
Okay.
I think it's the single best thing you can have is a network and people you can talk to, even if they're not in your subject, even that, you know, even if they're your competition sometimes, you know, I don't think you should, you know, not talk to your competition. They're not the enemy.
Yeah.
They might be doing something similar, but you can still learn from them. So how do you build a network from scratch? Great thing. A coffee costs £3. Two of them is £6. Okay. Buy someone a coffee. From my experience, you won't get into a boardroom to pitch your idea straight away, especially if you're trying to pitch to the big companies. It's just not going to happen. But most people, in my experience, have never refused a coffee. Come to them with a genuine offer. You know, I've seen your LinkedIn, your posts are great, really interested. I've got this idea. I think it might align. It would be great to have coffee. Coffee lasts about 20 minutes. It costs you £6. It's not expensive. You can have a conversation. It might not go anywhere, but it's about growing that network. Now, there's lots of people I've spoken to that are not direct clients, but they might be in contact with clients that I want to know, or even just in you know, different fields, but they've got more experience than I have. And you know, once you built this relationship, you start seeing them at different events, and it grows slowly. But my big thing was I was sending out LinkedIn DMs to anybody that I thought would be interested, emails, and simply asking to meet for coffee. And I didn't turn up with a presentation either. It was very much I've got it in my head. You have to allow them 50% of the time, because if you just turn up and bombard them, that's a big turn off for them. And you probably will only get 50% out of what you'll want to get across. Don't worry about it. This is only the start. And they'll introduce you to other people as well. You know, again, every other coffee I've gone to, people often ask how they can help, especially if you're starting out. Everybody wants to help. And they'll often say, have you spoken to so-and-so? Have you spoken to this person? Use my name. And again, you grow your network that way. So that's for me what I did. And try and give them reason to come to the meeting as well. You know, they don't just want to hear your pitch. Try and give them some advice. So again, one of the guys that I first met, we were talking about cars, and he had an issue with his personal car. It wasn't £1 million car, but we discussed. We looked at some of the things he had going on. He got some value out of that. So it's really important.
Okay. And then we've got a tradition on the podcast where viewers submit their questions via Slido. Got one question for you. What does a day in the life look like for you building your business?
Yeah, every day is different, but it has the same theme. So it starts out with good intentions. It'll always start with urgent client requests, dealing with those. Then we'll have some planned work in. So that'll either be a move or an inspection or these sorts of things. And then normally in the evening, when time is quiet and things like that, that's when we'll start doing paperwork and follow-ups and things like that. That's roughly how it goes. However, I mentioned before, I was waiting to meet Harvey. I was in line to get a coffee. Urgent client request came in. You know, it's very difficult to say no to those clients because you are there to provide that service. Is it inconvenient in your personal life? Yes. In the long run, will it be worth it? Yes. And depending on who your clients are as well, I found, this is, you know, slightly off topic, but a lot of the people I deal with are people that have grown businesses and got lots of experience in business. As you get to work with them more and more, you know, you can pick their brains, and, you know, I've asked them about, you know, contracts and things like that. So although you're giving them value, it's a transactional, they're, you know, you're providing a service, they're paying you. They don't mind, you know, genuine questions, you know. So that's what a day in the life of VF looks like.
Perfect. And that's all my questions for you. But thank you so much for coming on again on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for letting us use this space. And like you said, comments,
Porsche, Ferrari. If you get it right, I'll send you something out. And yeah, so
Yeah, sounds good. Right,
great.
thank you.
Thanks so much.